Back in jail for a third time, one of them picked off the streets by police this morning. In the van, Joshua Wong and Agnes Chow. If this insurrection against China's rule has any recognizable faces, it is theirs. Charged with public order offences and released on bail, they may look like high school students. But they become Beijing's biggest headache, determined to fight on, and even as the stakes mount, apparently free from fear.
We shall not surrender.
ចង់ឲ្យអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាដឹងថាហើយខ្ញុំនឹងជំរុញឲ្យសហព័ន្ធអន្តរជាតិបានផ្ញើសារទៅឲ្យប្រធានាធិបតីចិនលោកស៊ីជីនពីងហើយប្រជាជនយើងមានសិទ្ធិសេរីភាពរាល់ការចាប់ខ្លួនមិនត្រូវបញ្ជូនចេញទៅខាងក្រៅហើយយើងនឹងបន្តរកយុត្តិធម៌ដើម្បីទាំងអស់គ្នាហើយយើងនឹងសម្អាតអ្វីទាំងអស់ត្រូវតែព្យាយាមរកយុត្តិធម៌ជូនប្រជាជនមិនត្រូវគិតតែរឿងខ្លួនឯងទេ
Police headquarters on the 21st of June. No violence on that occasion, but barricading the police in their own building was seen as a brazen affront to the authority of Beijing and its surrogates in Hong Kong. These latest arrests may appear draconian, but they're part of China's nuanced approach to this dilemma: how to stop the contagion of freedom without resorting to a bloodbath.
Apparently, at least, Beijing has decided not to deploy the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, the military troops into the streets of Hong Kong. They would now use all judicial means to scare people off the current fight.
Intimidation through arrest is one of China's methods, and then there's Technicolor. Now is the real time to test us, they chant. Carry forward the spirit of the Hong Kong garrison. Carry out the mission without fail. This was the item on Chinese state television announcing the routine rotation of People's Liberation Army troops into that Hong Kong garrison. Although for a routine production, this was more Hollywood blockbuster. Seeing Chinese military helicopters fly past the corporate spires of Asia's financial capital is meant to intimidate everyone, including the global business community, that there's always another, more brutal option for dealing with these challenges to Beijing's authority. This season of unrest is now running 13 weeks. It started with rallies against an extradition law. It has become a symbolic and epic struggle against China's iron hand and the shrinking of Hong Kong's already limited democracy. Beijing may be the emerging superpower. It's flexing its muscles across Asia. These scenes would never be allowed in mainland China. But in Hong Kong, China is facing a challenge it never expected, and it still doesn't know how to deal with. Well, I spoke earlier to Bonnie Leong, one of the organisers of tomorrow's unsanctioned protest, which has now been cancelled. And I began by asking, after the wave of arrests of protest leaders, is she also expecting a knock on the door from the police?
Actually, yes, I'm glad that you mentioned that. So I may as well talk in advance, say in advance that I have done nothing wrong. I did not break any laws or do any violence act. So if I'm ever to be arrested by the police officers, well, I will claim my innocence.
But they're clearly arresting people in order to intimidate organisers of demonstrations like yourself and indeed the general public. Is that intimidation working?
Well, I'm sure it's not, because Hong Kong people had shown again and again that we are people value our city so much, value our home so much, and we will soldier on to fight for our freedom, justice, and also democracy until we see our 5 demands be heard. So people are not being frightened away. Of course, we may fear for our own safety, but it's not enough to intimidate us from the campaign.
Right. But what about this march tomorrow? There's supposed to be a march tomorrow, as there has been every weekend. The police have not allowed this march. In fact, there's a police statement today saying that anyone caught on the streets pretending to do something else but actually marching could face 5 years in prison. Are you still going to go ahead with this demonstration?
No, because as the organizer of this protest, I think our first priority must be do our best to make sure that everyone will be legal consequences free and safe. But we don't see how we can do it, because if people continue to come out, because we'll continue our march, people will simply be dispersed and arrested. So we're canceling it. But it doesn't mean that we are defeated or the movement is in any way being ended by the government by this intimidation.
Is this going to end peacefully or not?
I hope so. But the government is making it very, very difficult. But we will carry on. And we also urge UK to support us, because the Joint Declaration did not promise us that. The Joint Declaration promises peace and democracy and rule of law and also freedom.